Hello, Dirty Sanchez. This is your commissioner speaking, coming to you with a week 4 wrap up video. We are about a third of the way through the season, and figured now, after 4 games under our belt, we kind of see who's doing what, who's the good teams, who's the bad teams, who drafted well, who hasn't, and yeah. So, figured give you guys a little recap here. It's supposed to be done earlier today. I got busy doing a bunch of other stuff. So I'm coming to you now at 11 o'clock at night, the night before the start of week 5. So, yeah, started off this year. We had a pretty good draft. Again, everybody showed up. It was like the 5th straight year that everybody showed up, which has been good. I thought I had the best team in the league. I didn't do a draft recap video or anything like that, but man, I loved a lot of my picks. And actually, my team, I'm still pretty okay with it, I guess. A lot of my players haven't lived up to kind of what I had expected them to do. I mean, they're not having bad years, but they're not blowing it up. I think part of that might be the fact that we got rid of those big bonuses that we had in the league. I went back and looked. I was at the Joker the other night with Brandon, and we were looking at this. There was only 3 people that voted to keep the big bonuses we used to have. 9 people in the league said they were done with them. And that kind of pisses me off and seems kind of stupid because bonuses was one of the things that made this league pretty cool. But it doesn't matter. I mean, nobody else getting the bonuses either. So I'm 2-2 in this year. Hopefully, just made a trade with Tim that'll pay off for me. I think Brandon Cooks is going to take off here, and hopefully he does well for me. We'll see. But I gave up a fucking number 4 running back overall in our league. I think he's number 4. So it's a bit of a gamble. So let me jump into standings here real quick. So if we were to look at the projected playoff bracket right now, Palmyra Pounders would have the number 1 overall seed. He's undefeated in the league, which is crazy. I mean, I like this team all okay. I mean, he's got Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Alfred Morris, Randall Cobb, Julian Edelman, and then basically a bunch of scrubs. Doesn't have a very good tight end. Sorry, take that back. Greg Olson wasn't forecast to be a pretty good tight end, but he's been, what? It says number 6. Anyway, point is, he's had an above average year for him, in my opinion. I think that's made a big difference. Yeah, everybody on his team is performing above average. I thought Marshawn Lynch would be injured by now. Alfred Morris, I thought he was going to actually have a pretty good year because I think they wanted to, I was thinking they want to keep RG3 healthy, so they'd run it a ton. Of course, they didn't do anything that fucking smart. But Alfred Morris is having a decent year. Randall Cobb, everybody was projecting him not to have as good a year. But he's gotten like 4 touchdowns so far this year or something like that. It's crazy. It's like he's like Eddie Royal, even though he's way more talented than Eddie Royal. But yeah, whatever. Good for him. Julian Edelman, the only player on the Patriots that's doing anything. Trust me, I feel this acutely because I bet on Shane Vereen and Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is doing pretty good, but Shane Vereen is not nearly the offensive threat I thought he was going to be in this offense. I thought they were going to do a lot of swing passes, trying to make him Darren Sproles 2.0, and that just has not happened so far. Anyway, the rest of E-Dog's team, I mean, it's not fancy, it's just solid. I mean, every one of those guys is just, representing. There's no weak spots week to week on that lineup. Is it sexy? Is it flashy? Is it the best lineup in the league? Well, we'll see. But for now, shit's working out for him. Rico the Fantasy Freako. He would be the number 2 seed, which fucking pains me greatly. What the fuck? Spotify. Can you please shut the fuck up? Give me just a second. So yeah, fucking Rico, that fucker. He's been a pretty good player. Uh, every year I've been in the league, and he keeps ending up in my fucking division, and I keep having to play him. He's beat me out for at least one division championship on the last game of the season. Um, he's always bringing a tough team. I feel like this is the Seattle Seahawks San Francisco 49ers rivalry, where, of course, I'm the fucking Seahawks, and he's the 49ers. Fucking tough team, good team, but just not quite as good as me. But fuck, he's actually killing it right now. Having said that, he's leading the league in scoring with 650 points. It's fucking nuts. The next closest person is 24 points behind him. That means he's outscored that person by an average of, 6 points every week? I was looking earlier. The lowest points that old boy has had this year is 130. And this past week, of course, when I played, or no, week before he actually went off, this last week, where was it? Yeah, he became the first team in our league to score 200 points. It's crazy. So, fuck. I hope that dude gets fucked. His team, I'm looking at it. Matt Ryan. I think his offensive line is just. It's played as best it's going to play all year, and I would not expect him to finish in the top 7 or 8 quarterbacks. We'll see. Jamal Charles. I just keep waiting for that guy to get injured. I mean, nothing against Jamal Charles. I'm sure he's a fine human being and all, but he has not performed in fantasy the last couple of years. And from a fantasy perspective, I question whether he'll be able to stay healthy the entire year. If he goes down, then he is in Rico's in big trouble because Arian Foster. This is the reason I didn't keep him this year and kept Zach Stacy. Arian Foster is just a nightmare. I think 3 out of the 4 weeks so far he's been a game time decision and actually sat out one game already. I mean, that dude is fragile. And then Roddy White, I like that pick. I thought he was going to be solid with a lot of volume of catches. But fucking Steve Smith? Seriously? Who would have fucking saw that coming? I mean, the guy's like 35 years old. And you know what? That's all I'm going to say about the guy because this is going up on the internet. And if he watches this and gets mad, I'll be extremely afraid for my life. So, moving on to Jimmy Graham. Guy's always doing good. But even him, I mean, goes back to the Drew Brees thing. Like, Drew Brees is not having a horrible year at all. I mean, he's fine. But he's just not lighting it up like he did in the past. I think someone's saying he's like number 10 in a standard league right now. I mean, that's not horrible, but that's also not the Drew Brees we're used to. So hopefully that turns around for me. Let's see. Michael Crabtree. But his defense is actually really good. Paul Posluszny for Jacksonville. That guy's a tackling machine, and he's having a great year. Robert Quinn has actually had a down year. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the player rank, 73rd. Who would have thought that? Dude was a phenom last year. But anyway, Posluszny, Quinn, and then Harrison Smith, the DB from Minnesota. Like, that's a solid defense there. But yeah, it's interesting, the Robert Quinn thing. I didn't realize that before. Anyway, let's see, anybody on the bench. Darren Sproles has been playing fucking out of his mind. He's another one of these guys that no one would have forecasted was going to do this good. And then, yeah, the rest of his team is just a bunch of scrubs. But that fucker, he's projected to be number 2. Number 3, Invincible HNS. I remember specifically when we were sitting in the draft talking about, oh, Rich is done, lost it. This is the first year that whatever he's doing makes no fucking sense. And that motherfucker, again, is, 3-1? Yeah, I think he's 3-1. Let me go in here. Let me go in here. Yeah, I'm going to guess he's 3-1. And I think he probably just lost his first game. So, yeah, he lost to Rico, who put up 200 this week. The point being, evidently, Rich hasn't lost it. Looking at his team, he's got Peyton fucking Manning again. Monte Ball, who hasn't done jack shit for him. Yeah, he's a 35 ranked running back. He hasn't done jack shit all year, but don't matter. Because Julio Jones, that motherfucker's been going nuts. Jordy fucking Nelson, that motherfucker's been going nuts. And oh, by the way, he still got Rashad Jennings, who, after it seems like 200 carries in the first 4 games, for not very many yards, but, enough yards to give you some points. His team is doing much better than I thought it would. He's got Alshon Jeffrey as a flex, for crying out loud. I mean, that's pretty good. You still got Fred Jackson on the bench, who doesn't seem to die. Carlos Hyde, Frank Gore's back up. Have you seen that dude? He actually looks really good. And if and when Frank Gore ever decides to hang it up or gets injured this year, because he's been playing since 1975, Carlos Hyde is going to have a ton of value because the dude's the real deal, in my opinion. Who else we got here? Next up is Sex Panther, our reigning champion. Let's see, looking at his team. Wow, what a mixed bag. So he's got Andrew Luck, who's the number 1 quarterback in all of fantasy right now, which I don't think anybody would have really foreseen. They top 5 for sure, but number 1, no one would have thought about that. Who else? Not a lot of fucking shit else. He's got LaShawn McCoy. So heading in after the draft, you'd think that Clayton would have a fucking great team. But LaShawn McCoy has not done jack. He's still leading his division at 3-1. But then again, I made a note of this earlier. There is not a bigger discrepancy between first and second place in a division as far as points scored than in the East. The East, which has a combined 5? 3, 5, no, 2, 5. Yeah, a combined 5 championships between the 3 teams in that league. Jeremy's gotten 2, James has gotten 2, Clayton's gotten 1. Between 5 of them, they are, what, 5th, 6th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th. No, 7th? Yeah, they're 7th in overall scoring. And not only that, but the second place player is 125 points behind that. Way more discrepancy between any of the other divisions between first and second place. So not only are the 7th, the leader of that division is only the 7th best scoring team. The guys below him are way behind him. On the opposite end of that spectrum, the North, they are separated by a total of 7 points between first and last place. Rich has 611, Brandon has 606, and Swags has 604. That is a fucking tight division. And as far as records go, yeah, they're 3-1, 2-2, 2-2. So that's the tightest division of all of them so far. Everywhere else, it's either the North or the South and the East are just running away with it. So E-Dog already has a 3-game lead in his division. Clayton has a 2-game lead in his division. The other ones are a little tighter. The North is by far the tightest, with everyone at least 500 or above. But in the West, you've got the Neapolitan, you've got the vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. You got a 1-3, a 2-2, and a 3-1. So pretty much the gamut. All right. Anything else I need to talk about here? I don't think so. Let's see who else. Sex Panther, Wizinators. Fucking Brandon beat my ass last week with a bunch of fucking polished turds. Asiata and who was the other fucking running back? Oh yeah, Andre Williams, racking up shit in garbage time. Fucking kidding me? Anyway, it's good to see him in the playoff hunt, at least this early. At least he hasn't already been eliminated. And then finally, Swags. Swags kind of seems perpetually to toe that line between just in the playoffs and just out of the playoffs. And looking at his team, Rogers, Martin, Bell, oh yeah, Brown. I tell you what, man, he fucking hit with Le'Veon Bell and keeping Antonio Brown. He kept Antonio Brown a few years back when no one was really talking about Antonio Brown. And yeah, he's been paying off, and he is killing it this year. Number 1 overall wide receiver. Le'Veon Bell, I love that guy, but as soon as he got arrested for pot, and this was right before we drafted, it totally fucked me. Like, I just didn't want to draft him. Let's see if it would have mattered. I think he may have been gone already. Let's see. I gotta. Please, pardon the pause here, but I want to check. Oh, by the way, this fucking ESPN site sucks. Golly. Told you guys I'm trying to create my own database of all the scores and everything from CBS, so that we're not tied to any one site. And if I can get that thing finished this year, I'm gonna put that theory to the test and think about maybe switching over to Yahoo, because ESPN is just ugh. There's so many things you cannot do from a customization perspective. The sole reason I went with this is because in reading reviews, people were talking about, or the reviewers were talking about the mobile experience and how ESPN is really invested in mobile, which, I mean, my feedback on that is okay, yeah, they have mobile apps for Windows Phone, which is nice, iPhone, Android, iPad, all that kind of stuff, and I guess they look okay. But here's the problem. They look good, but the functionality in the back end is so limited. It's like, well, who gives a fuck what it looks like? Like, you can't do half the shit that you want to do. And by that I mean, like, I was looking at our scoring settings, and the fact that you can't allow for individual defender return yardage just tells me that, like, you're kind of just solving for the 80%. And maybe, maybe it's just on the 20% out there that has a different league with different scoring system and stuff like that. But I mean, how hard is it to fucking add return yardage for defensive players? Anyway, so let me see if I can bring up the history. Oh yeah, I think it's under here. Draft recap. I want to find out where he took Le'Veon Bell. So in the first round, okay, first, second, third round doesn't count because those are our keepers. So we started with Eddie Lacy, which, oh, fucking Steve. Here's the thing. I remember trying to trade Steve the day of the draft. I was offering my first round and my third round, if I recall correctly. And Steve wasn't buying it. And he came back and he wanted way more than was really appropriate. He wanted like my first and second, next year's second or something like that. I'm like, dude, come on. But anyway, he took Eddie Lacy. That was the guy that I was targeting and wanted a ton. He hasn't had the best year this year. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's because he played Seattle and Chicago Detroit and the Jets, which are, was it the Jets? Yeah, 3 really tough run Ds. Okay, fine. Well, he played the Bears this last time, and he only got 13 carries. Granted, he did a lot with those 13 carries, but at the same time, dude, 13 carries, that's it. It was a shitty night. Weather was bad. It was at home. This is a perfect opportunity to kind of establish, hey, we're going to run the ball. It's going to set up our play or play action for passing. But no, they couldn't help themselves. They got a couple of big plays early and just completely abandoned the run. 13 fucking rushes. It's crazy. But anyway, right behind Eddie Lacy, Jordy Nelson was drafted by fucking Rich. And I totally agree with it. Jordy Nelson was my number 1 wide receiver. No question. I'm trying to think if he was my number 1 overall. I think I still would have gone Lacy. But anyway, Jordy Nelson was my number 1 wide receiver. James, for some fucking reason, drafted Deshaun Jackson, number 3. Eesh. I would not have done that. Alright, Percy Harvin. I don't agree with that pick, but he's turned out well so far. Arian Foster, yeah. I was so happy to see Rico grab home like this. The fucking 49ers just grabbed Arian Foster. So happy, because I do not think he's going to do shit. Unfortunately, he's been hanging on, scoring touchdowns, getting yards, even though he got injured, at least he was catching passes. It's fucking killing me. Doug Martin. Oh yeah, it was a fucking horrible. That was not a good pick. Here's the thing, I actually was big on Doug Martin too, but was glad when someone else took him. So Gronkowski, let me fast forward to what I was talking about. Why did I look at this? Oh yeah, fucking Le'Veon Bell. 6 minutes, 6 minutes later. Oh, look at that. Oh, how bad does that suck? So I drafted Shane Breen in the second round. You know who went after Shane Breen? Le'Veon Bell. One pick after me. So I could have picked him. And I specifically went with Shane Breen because I thought he was going to have a fucking year. Fucking Patriots. Killing me. Anyway, it's good to know. Toenails. He did well with Antonio Brown. Le'Veon Bell. I think that's good value when he picked him. I think that's not too much of a stretch to say he's some kind of super genius for getting him there. But, yeah. It's been a crazy year when DeMarco Murray is far and away the best running back in the league. Oh, wait. Oh, no, he kept DeMarco Murray. Sorry. Yeah, when DeMarco Murray is far and away the best running back in the league, you know it's a crazy season. And luckily for James, he kept him to help offset the Deshaun Jackson pick in the first round. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. It's been good talking to you. This has been Drunk History with your commissioner, Dirty Sanchez, out.